Welcome back, everybody. We are working towards building our design for our interactive story out and looking at storytelling. If you were with us last time, hopefully you got to the point in the game where you were having your character come onto the scene. We were looking at building out kind of a door key scenario with our character. And I had talked a little bit, a tiny bit about somebody wanted something but so then game or story design template that we use when we do this kind of thing in a classroom. So just to kind of reiterate, when we come into a classroom, um, when I come into a classroom, or sometimes I come into a classroom with another teacher, we work through a template in our game design, and that template is somebody, which is your character, wanted something, and what they want is that can be really anything. Somebody wanted something, but, and that is the problem that they face. So then what is the solution that they move towards to solve that problem? And as I talked about before, game design and narrative design and what we're looking at during these short sessions here is it's really important that you set a template out for your students, and that you make the students successful in the way that you give them kind of a path to follow, because game design and creating in this kind of environment that we're all building in here can be very open, and sometimes very open for students is a bit daunting and can lead to some confusion. So as I stated before, the somebody wanted but so then game design kind of template that I keep mentioning is a great way to kind of set your students on the right path. And just to reiterate from our last session as well, I'm just going to click on here, and this is my tile map. We had talked about having a area that we leave, and then we talked about having a key in a certain spot on our level. So the door that we were talking about was kind of our problem that we were talking about through the level, where the key is the solution to the problem. And as I stated before, when we do this with students, it's not a door, it's not a key, it can be a lot of different things. It's that problem and solution. What I also wanted to mention here is I generally keep the students' game template, which is this right here, which is the tile map, sorry. And I'll zoom in a little bit in case some of you are on a smaller screen. The tile map right here. I generally keep it to 16 by 16. I'm just going to drag my mouse down to my left corner, and currently I've built it up to 25 by 25 just to show you that it can be a bit larger. But you don't want students like bumping out like 100 by 100 tile map, because it's just too vast and there's too much to do when the students start thinking a little bit too big. As they move along, they can make their design bigger and spread it out and do whatever they want. But my suggestion when you're doing storytelling and game design with them, keep it simple, keep it small, and focus on the design elements and the technical elements. When we were talking last time, we were working through a bit more difficult code. I'm just going to walk through the code here with you real quick to make sure that we're all on the same page. We had started our code here. We had set a Boolean to true right here. It was called door locked. And if you come over to this side over here, and I'm just going to jump over in the code over here real quick. I had it so when the player overlaps the door, which is our problem, if the door locked equals true, this is the Boolean right here, so up in this top left corner, then it basically takes my sprite's X position, which is the X on the left and the right, and it bumps them back 16. And then at the bottom it says you need a key. So basically whenever this Boolean is true, which it is as you start the game, they will not let you, you cannot go through the door. You cannot solve the problem. Maybe that's a better general way to put it. Now coming over to this side over here, and actually, sorry, there's another piece of code here I should bring up. Now, if you do overlap the key and you come onto the key right here, it says on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind solution. Actually, mine says on sprite 2 of kind. Okay, that's okay. Overlap solution. Basically what this does is it moves the other sprite, which is the key, with the player. And then right here on this side, it says on the sprite over when the solution overlaps the door. The solution is the key, of course. I'll come back over here. This is the key right here. Then it sets the door locked Boolean to false. So what it does is it takes this Boolean right here and it flips it. So this code right here no longer applies. This code only works when it's true. So you flip the Boolean, they will no longer be pushed back through, and it destroys the key with a hard effect. It says you unlock the door and it places a tile at that location. Now, if you're wondering what this location is right here, it says 15 and 11. I'm gonna come back here, and if I hover over right here on my map, if you look down in the corner down here, it says 15 and 11. So that replaces the door with, it looks like a tile. So kind of like they open a chest or they move through a door. So briefly coming back here, the rest of my code is fairly straightforward. I create my character, I create my key, I move my sprite with my buttons. My sprite is obviously my character. I set my tile map, I get my camera to follow my character. This part's important right here. I place my sprite on top of this staircase, and this staircase, oops, sorry, I should be on my tile map here. This staircase is right here. And finally, I place the key on top of a very special location, which is right here, this part right here. You can see the tile map is right there. Okay, so sorry to go through everything again, but a review is really important. The coding is often the difficult part for students working on this, so I want to make sure it's clear in everyone's heads. Okay, so moving along with the design of our game, I thought a really cool place for us to go to next would be looking at animation for our character and perhaps looking at animation for our key here. So looking at animation, I think it's also, we can kind of hit 2 points at the same time. We'll also talk about functions. And if you've ever heard the term function before in computer science or in coding, it's simply a way to create some code that we can use over and over again without having to write the code again and again and again. Now, the way we're going to use it here, we're not going to be using the code tons of times, but I want you to get familiar with functions. So if it does come up later down the road, or it does come up with your students, you're comfortable talking about it and you're comfortable using it in your program. So to create a function, first of all, oh, let's see here, let someone in. To create a function, come over to the side here, and if you come all the way down to the bottom of your design under advanced, you'll notice there is a functions little button here. It's called F and then X for functions. And it has a make a function button. So all you need to do is click that, and that will take you to this kind of crazy looking screen here with all these options, and students are often like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? I have no idea. Don't worry about what's going on up here. All you want to do down here is click on function and type in animation. You always want to name the function for what the function is going to do. So this is going to be our animation function. So we'll get into these in a bit and talk about how these work. So let's click done down here. And you'll notice, I'm just going to bring this down to about here. We now have a new block called function, and the name of it is animation. And this is where we're going to build our animation out for our character. Now, animation is a really cool area to get into because I often say, like, with game design and story design, there are a lot of different routes you can go, like as a career, and animation certainly is a route. So this is a area here that some of your students will just absolutely love, and they can keep going with this. So to activate this and get our animations running, you can build the animation out in code, but we are going to skip all that because that is a lot of hard work, and we're going to click on extensions right here. So under extensions, you have all your extensions here. And actually, this is a really cool extension they just added. You can create multiplayer games where students can play each other online. I'm not going to really talk about that right now, but they literally just added that. So we're going to come all the way down to the bottom down here. And you'll notice if you drag over to the left, there is this kind of Elvis looking character right here. And it says arcade character animations. So all you need to do is click on that. And that will take like 10 seconds, depending on your internet connection, to activate that. And once you have that activated, you'll notice over in the corner here, it has a camera. And the camera icon, if you click on it, you have now access into what are called animation blocks. Now, animation blocks are special blocks because they simply act as, I always tell the students, it's like a flip book. You're just flipping through frames like in a flip book if you make like a stick man. So we're not going to get into any of the stuff down here. We're just going to focus on this one up on the top up here. So once you have your character extension added, just pull it out and plunk it inside the function animation tab down here. So I'll just kind of make this a bit bigger so we all can see what's going on. What was that called again? So that was called it was called I think it was animation. So if you click on extensions and you come all the way down, it's this one called Arcade Character Animations right here. Oh, no worries, it's all good. I can see I'm always watching the text on the side, so it's all good. It's this one right here. So if you click on that, that will bring you to the character one. It's got like a movie camera on it, and it's this one right here. Sorry, does that answer your question? I just want to make sure you're okay there, Janine. Sweet. Okay, cool. So now back to looking at this right here. So you can choose and animate different things. You can animate your key, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We want to animate my sprite because my sprite is obviously my character right here, my little wizard. Now, I'm going to show you a bit of a hack here, and please follow along because this hack will save you a lot of time. The reason this hack will save you a lot of time is because there isn't a super easy way to get your character in here. So if I click on, I'm just going to click on here real quick. You'll see I have my my tile map here, and I can click on My Assets and click on Gallery and click on Editor, but you don't see your character in here. Okay, they're not in here. So what you want to do is come back up to your character, and you want to click on your main character, which is my little wizard here, and with his staff. And what you're going to do is you're going to come over to the marquee tool, which is this one right here. I don't know, I think I talked about it before. I don't know if we really used it. So if you click on the marquee tool and you left click on the corner and highlight your entire character. Now students have trouble with this sometimes. They'll like click and they'll only highlight like half their character. They have to highlight the entire character, everything in it. That's just really important, and I guarantee you will have some students that will have trouble with that. If you make a mistake, like if you highlight only half the character, hit escape and you can start again. Okay. I say this because I've experienced it with a lot of students having trouble. So hold down Control and hit C. So your Control C is your copy. So if you're on a Mac right now, that would be Command C, I believe. So Control C, it copies your character, and then click Done. So we're going to come back down to our animation function right here. Click on our gray box, and then I'm going to hit Control V, and Control V is our paste. Now students won't always get this the first time, it might not paste in, but it's a pretty important thing to know. And then students, this avoids the students having to redraw their character out, which is going to be a super big pain. It's better to just copy your character straight in here. Now we have our, I just want to stop for a second and make sure everyone's okay. Does anyone have any questions? You can fire a question at me, you know, just turn your mic off and ask me, or you can fire it into the chat there. Just want to make sure no one's feeling left behind or has any questions, because we're not a huge group. So we have, you know, we have time to chat about things. Where did I paste the character? Sure, no problem. I'll show you that. So this part right here, under character, we use this extension, and inside here, there's this little green box right here, and if you click on that, that is where I paste the character into this part right here. Hopefully you have that, Dina, and I'll kind of stay on this thing. I missed the first class and I don't have the entire first part of the code. Okay. Yes, there is actually, and this is a really good thing. I'll throw this your way. So your students will ask you this sometimes. So this is a great way to catch your students up. So come up to the top up here, and there's a share button up here. So if I click my share button, and there is an orange button here called Share Project. So if I click on that, this is the share for my button for my code. So you can see I can pop that on Google Classroom. I don't even know. Oh, is that GitHub? Oh, kiosk. I don't know what that's. I think an arcade machine. So if I click copy right here, I can come over to our chat and I can paste the code into the chat. So if you look in the chat right now, if you click on this, it will take you to my game. And you can click on edit game and it will take my entire game and place it into your browser. Angela, does that make sense? Sorry, it's a bit, hopefully it's not too confusing. So you can click on my game, it will take you exactly right here and you'll be exactly where I am. The only thing is you don't put it anywhere, you just click on it. And then there's a thing on the top that says edit code. So if you look up here, I'll bring this over, it says edit code right here, and that will take you right into my game and you'll be exactly where we are. So sorry, I'll bring that back and minimize that down. Okay. So, Angela, sorry, does that answer your question and catch you up to where? No, it doesn't edit my, no, it doesn't edit my game. That's a copy on the net. So that is not like if you've used Tinkercad before, if you put the wrong code in, the students will start moving all of your stuff around. No, this is, that's your own copy. Okay, so to go back to where we were, I am just going to click on my character right here. And Angela, I guess you'll have to use my wizard for now, but that'll be okay. The first animation I always talk to about students is idle. So the idle animation, and I'm sure you've all heard it before, is kind of when your character stands still. So we're basically going to do two animations. To keep it simple, we're just going to do an idle animation and a walk animation. So the idle animation, I always say, have your character kind of breathing, like they're just moving up or down. So if you come up to the right corner up here, you see you have a play button, a 500, and it has your character up here, like a set character, and it has your first frame. If you click this double paper here, it makes a copy of your character. So I have my first copy and I have my second copy. Now, if I click play, it does nothing because the first copy and the second copy are exactly the same. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the second copy and I'm going to alter something on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him blink. I always start out with blinking because it's easy. So I'm going to find the pink color and I'm just going to click on the eyeballs and I'm going to remove them. Now, when I click play, you can see up here on this part right here, my character is jumping between this frame and this frame. It's going eyeballs open, eyeballs close, and it's jumping back and forth. If I don't like how slow that is, I can change this to 200 or faster, and it will blink like way quicker like that. Now, blinking eyeballs is okay, but we want to look at like something a bit more realistic, like breathing or moving up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the top one here. I'm going to duplicate it. Now, the cool thing about this is you can drag these frames to different places. So I'm going to drag the top frame down to the bottom, and I'm going to grab I think I'll grab like the head. So I'm going to use my marquee tool. I'm going to kind of wrap around the head like this, and I'm going to move the head down a little bit. So it looks like he's kind of, I don't know, like just the head's kind of moving up and down. And I can also grab the marquee tool and I can like change his hair a little bit. So you can see up here, the hair is changing. So I'm going to duplicate it again, and maybe I'll just grab the marquee tool and I'll change his hair and kind of look like his hair is moving around in the wind. I know I'm not a great artist or anything like that, but I find often with students, a great way to start with animations is just to use the marquee tool and kind of grab different pieces of the character and kind of move them around. Now you could also have the staff in his hand move around. So I'm just going to make another duplicate. I'm getting a lot of duplicates now, and I'm just going to kind of grab the staff and I'm going to move it down a little bit. Now you can see my character here is animating. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5. I guess you could call them frames of animation. Each frame, if I click on it, it will show me what my character does. And students really love this part because they can kind of get in there and they can alter things. Like I can have his mouth maybe, actually that's not a good example. The mouth doesn't look like it's closing at all. You could have like parts, kind of your character kind of moving around and talking. I could maybe grab just the side of him here, like just this kind of side, and I could have it kind of come in like that and move around. So I'm going to give you like 5 minutes or so. I want you to like have fun. This is usually a part of the session that students love doing and really enjoy kind of animating their character. And you can see my character up here. I usually keep them around 200 milliseconds. So 1,000 milliseconds in a second. I keep them at about 200 milliseconds for my idle animation. I find that generally works pretty well. Down on the bottom, there's a thing called asset name. So I can name him, I'm just going to call this animation wizard. and just so I have that, so I know what it is. And then, yeah, I can kind of keep that here. So, like I said, I'm just going to kind of wait here. I think I might build out some more animations on my character. You totally free now. Please undo your mic or put something in the chat, and we can talk a little bit about maybe this process or some questions you have about it. I think I'll make the eyebrows kind of come down. Oh, yeah, I'll make the eyebrow. I can make one eyebrow come down and the other eyebrow come down. Is the code rebuilding the template you give to students? Yes, up to what we did in our last session. So let me come back here. I do not like all of this. Sorry, I'll back up a little bit. Oh yeah, no worries. Share link is right there. Hopefully that sends out. Share link is right there. Yeah, so to answer the first question was, is this code the template? Yes, everything here is the template except for the, no problem, except for the function with the animation. So students would come into the level, into the space, and it would look kind of like this, except I would have no walls in it. I would have no, it would be like a blank slate kind of, it would just be like a tile floor. The character here, I'd have a C, it would just say C for character. The door, or sorry, the key would be S for solution, and the door would be P for problem. So rather than really give them any ideas about characters and stuff like that, I set this all up just with like generic lettering. So this whole chunk of code, actually, I don't think I can highlight everything. Apart from the function is my basic template, and that's what we finished off last block. And the reason I do that is because, like I said, I'm only in classes for like 5 days. If I had a full-on class, and I was with them, all the time, I would build this from scratch. Because if you build it from scratch with them, then they understand how the code works, and you're going to go a lot farther. But if you're restricted for time, like if your unit is restricted, like you're only doing storytelling for a week, you can set this template up and have it ready to go. Okay, so yeah, totally. Yeah, that and Trista, the reason I say that is because I've tried and failed doing it from the bottom up. Like I've tried it with very young classes, and like let's say I do it with like a grade 2 class, or a grade 3 class, and I get them to build it from scratch. This part right here with a grade 2 or 3, all of this like Boolean stuff, they're kind of like, it gets really confusing and hard for them. So those primary students, this is a great thing. It removes that hard stuff with the code and lets them focus on the actual story. And like you said, character, problem, solution, spaces, that's all really important. I cannot believe sometimes the artwork that the students come up with actually is pretty amazing as they start to build out. The part where you're going to get a bit of frustration is the coding, but the coding is an important piece of it. It's that resilience piece and all that. Okay, so before I move on here, this is interesting. Whenever I move something, you'll notice down here it saves it. So I just love that option. You don't have to actually save anything. It auto saves it for you. Before I move on here, did anyone have any other questions about where we are right now or anything about animation? I just want to make sure everybody's like
I had a quick question
comfortable.
about the animation.
Yeah, no worries.
So when I play the animation piece, I can
Hmm.
see it moving like at the very
Hmm.
top corner.
Yeah, up here.
How do you get it to move like if you were to like for like because there's like say a 4 or 5 frames. Are you
Hmm.
changing each frame so that it moves, or do you change one particular frame instead of like all of them? Like
Yeah, there's
what?
different ways you can do it. Generally, I start with my basic frame, I copy that frame, and I alter something on every frame. So you can
Oh,
see
I
every
see.
single frame here. If I'm clicking through his frames, something is altered on every frame that I've done. I take the previous frame and I alter it like
Okay.
that way. If you want to make it really smooth, like if you want to make this look really good, you would then copy it backwards and put it this way. That way it looks like he's breathing in and breathing out. If you
Oh,
want to do that.
thank
But that's
you.
dependent on time. No worries, no worries. Are you able to animate two different parts in the same block? Sorry, what do you mean by that? Like animate something different here than different here? I don't think that's possible. Your animation is restricted to one. Oh, in the block, you mean in here? Yes, and we're going to talk about that in a second for sure. Any other questions, anybody, before I move on? Just want to make sure everybody's comfortable and we're good. Okay, seems pretty good. Okay, so now we have our basic animation. Let me zoom in a little bit here. This animation right here is our not moving animation. Now, if I come out and I click on this, you can see we have a lot of different animations. And this is the beauty of the animation block. To build this code out is quite difficult. So this animation is only for my character when they're not moving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my not moving animation, and I'm going to right click it on my mouse, or I always say snake bite on a trackpad if students are on Chromebooks. And I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to plunk in the exact copy of that animation. Now I'm going to come down a little bit here, and it says not moving. I'm going to change this to moving. Just really simply change it to moving. Now what I'm going to do, now that I've got a not moving and a moving block inside the same block, I don't know if Janine, if this is what you're talking about, or maybe you're talking about something different. You can click on your block, and I'm going to delete all of my animations, except for my very top animation, which is my base animation. Cool. Yeah, we might be able to figure out later on. This is my base animation with my base character. Now I'm going to create a walking animation. Now a walking animation is slightly different from an idle. Obviously, the feet are going to move, and you might want the pole to move up and down. I don't know what your character looks like. Some of you had some pretty cool characters last time. So we're just going to duplicate it. And I say, oh, this is why I always tell students to put feet on your character. It doesn't matter what they are, put feet on them. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to start by erasing, using the eraser pad, and erase his left foot. Then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to put the left foot back in, and I'm going to erase the right foot, just like that. Now, if you click play on this, my character is, I mean, this is in the most basic sense, my character is walking right now. You can see my animation is running. What I would do, you only generally need 3 or 4 animations for a character walking. Now, obviously, when you're an animator, you're building out, you could build out, 20 of these to make it look really realistic. But for students, that usually does pretty well. Now, what we could do here as well, and I think I'm going to do this with my character, I'm going to make his staff move kind of as he walks. And you can see there's the staff moving. And I could do a little bit of his hand moving over here as well. His hand goes up and down while he walks. There we go. And, simply there, and, I could do the hair. I mean, you can go on and on, right? It goes as far as you want to take it. That is like a not bad, I don't think it's great or anything, but that's my not bad walking animation for my character. I'm going to re-put that part on the hair there so he looks good. I'm just going to click on here. I'm going to zoom in. And if I hover over my top animation, that is, oh, I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of doing, why is it doing both? It looks like it's deleted it on both of my animations. That's a bit weird. I don't know why I deleted it on both. It should only delete it on one. So that's a bit odd. Is anyone else experiencing that? Moving and not moving. So they should be different. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I deleted both of them. Oh, no worries. It's all good, Mary. But this one should be a different animation. I don't know why I deleted both of them. It's a bit strange. So I'm gonna re-add this animation on the side here, and I'm just gonna redo that idle animation real quick while we're all waiting. So I'm gonna click done. It might be a bit of a bug actually in here. I've never experienced this before. This one and this one should be 2 different animations, but it seems to me like it is, it's perhaps, I think, because I copied it. That might be my issue here. So that might be why it's running 2 different animations and it's kind of copying the same one off that one. So it might be a wise idea, and I usually don't copy. Maybe that was my issue there. Yeah, I don't know. Something weird's going on with mine. So hopefully you're not experiencing the same thing I am right now. I don't know why mine's doing this, but anyway, whatever. Things happen when you're coding. So I'm just going to take this one out real quick, and I'm going to, while we're waiting here, and hopefully you're working out your animation right now, I'm just going to recopy mine over and see if I can get mine back to the way it was before. So I'm just going to do this real quick and erase the feet on this one, do this one, the feet back on, and hopefully, I'm hoping that in this one, good, it's not doing it on this one. So my goodness, that was a bit terrifying. I don't know why mine was doing that. Okay, so anyway, mine's gonna be a lot simpler than yours, sorry. But I guess that was just something that I had copied over and it was doing something a bit strange. So that one should be the foot walking. It's more like a foot stomping, I guess, not a foot walking. And this one's my idle animation, which I will need to. I'm just gonna do the hair real quick so we are not confused between the two animations. I'm just gonna do his hair go up and down. Copy that and bring the hair back up. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's not great animations, but it'll work for now. Okay, so getting back to where we were before, just going to run this real quick. There we go. That's 500. I definitely want the walking at 200. So you'll notice that your animation currently doesn't really do anything. It's just running inside of your loops here. It's not doing anything outside of them. So what we want to do is we want to ensure that our animation is running when we run our game. So what happened here is we have created a function, but we have not called the function. So what we want to do is we want to come over to our on start right here. So our green block that we created at the very start of our game design. And we want to come down to functions and we want to call animation. So I'm going to bring that out. And you want to put it below your character block right here. So I'm going to call animation. I'm just going to make my screen really big and I'm going to click my A button. And you'll notice, although I'm sorry my animations aren't as cool as I had originally made them, you will notice that my character follows the code. So if I stop, the idle makes his head go up and down. And if I go to the, well, actually, if I go anyway, my feet move like I'm walking. Now, if you want to get more detailed, and I'm going to come down here, you would do the moving, let's see, moving left actually would be my character moving this way. And rather than mess it up and have that same thing happen to me again, I'm going to now do a moving right. So I'd have my character moving left, and then here, all I would do is I would grab my character. I'm going to grab my character from this one because I'm a bit worried about it doing the same thing it did to me before. And here, you can just flip your character around. So you up in these corner here, you can see you can flip your, whoops, I flipped them upside down by accident. You can flip your character in the other direction. So all I would do is I would duplicate my character and I would put my character moving in the other direction, which is kind of cool. I can just click play there and he should be stomping, although he should be stomping at 200, not 100. And now I have a moving left animation, I have a moving right animation, and I have an idle animation. So I have my 3 animations all set to go. So I'll make this bigger, click play. So you'll notice when I turn to the right, he moves right. When I turn to the left, he turns left. Now when he stops and idles, he's obviously always facing left, but at least this way, you can see that you have a, you have a bit of a different animation. Now you could do one for moving up and moving down, but I'm not gonna get into all that. I think this is kind of self-explanatory right here. Okay, I'm just gonna stop for a sec. And does anyone have any questions about the animation? I've kind of moved through it fairly quickly, but hopefully it's everyone can understand how it's working and how it can add to the game. I'll just wait a second, see if anybody has any questions about it.
Where did you get that one from the one before the animation piece? The one to move it to the on start?
Oh, the one called call animation right here?
Call animation, yes.
Yeah.
Where
So
did
once you create your function, which
okay.
is your animation function, it's just inside there, right there.
Oh, I don't have an animation function. Oh, there it is.
Oh, oh, do you have it?
Advanced. In
Sorry,
advanced?
yes, it's under advanced and it's called
Okay.
functions.
Yes, I
And
didn't see
yeah,
advanced.
cool.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, so that allows you to call the animation, and this animation, you can use it anywhere. So I used it on my character just for walking around, but it doesn't have to be just your character. So what you could do is you could create a second function. So I could click on function here. I click on make a function, and I could call this one key. So I just call it key. I click done. Now I have a function called key. And all I need to do is come to my character animation button, which is my little movie camera here, drag this in, and I could now create an animation for my key. So I could click on my key, and the process we went through there, if you recall, is using the marquee tool to highlight the key like this, hold down Control C, which is copy, come back in here, hold down Control V to paste my key in here. And now what I could do is I can make my key kind of have like a shiny kind of light go on it. So I don't think I'm going to do a great job of this either, but let's see, I'll use my yellow and I'll just keep duplicating this down and I'll keep covering up the yellow frame by frame as I go down. I'll do a couple more here to show you what this is going to look like. Keep coming down. I'm making like 10 animations of this. I'm going to just do this real quick. And one last one and one final one here. Now if I click play and I'm going to run this as 100, you'll notice I get like a shiny kind of light on my key animation right there, which is, yeah. So if I click done on that, all I need to do is I come over to my function tab, I call key function, and I always like to put the function just below the sprite that you're working with. Now, if I come here and I make it nice and big, oh, sorry. I wonder if anybody knows what I did there. I made a bit of a I made a bit of a boo-boo with my my code. My characters turned into my key. So if you look under key right here, it says function key, and I'm telling my sprite to turn into the key. It's not my key. It's not my sprite. It's my key. So I want my key to do what the key does. Sorry about that, but your students might do that as well. So I'm going to come down here and come to the left, and you can see right here we have our key with the animation on it. So I've animated my character, and I've also animated my key. Now this is really cool because any type of sprite you create in your entire game, you can add animation to it. So if you have like a chest, you can have that chest glow, or if you have a wall, you can have a wall right here, and the wall could like have shadows that go across it. Sorry, is it because yes, yeah, Cassandra, you caught me on that one. That was totally what it was. Now as your students start building code out more and more, and you'll see I've already got like, you know, a fair chunk of code right here, you're going to get into issues. Generally their issues are going to be with the variables here, like that mistake I just made right there. They're gonna be like, mine doesn't work, it's not working, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And often, more often than not, it's the variable here that they need to get correct. And you always, when you're troubleshooting with students, I always say, go to the variable, look through the variables here and make sure that they are matching up, because that's off. A student will accidentally click something and they'll put the wrong thing in, and you just want to make sure that those are the correct places. Okay, that should kind of close the topic on animation. Did anyone have any more questions on that before I move on to, we'll start talking about choices in the game and look at how we can start to create interactive choices in our storyline. Cool. My sprite's defaults. Okay. Figured it out. Awesome. That's great. That's good, Adrian. Okay, so let's, if no one has any questions on the functions and our animation, let's kind of move into our next portion here. And we're going to start to look kind of at, we'll start to look at what are called arrays. And what arrays are, sorry, I'm just going to minimize my screen down here a bit and make it a bit smaller so I can see things a little better here. I'm kind of working with two screens, but one is bigger than the other. So I think I've almost got it. So what arrays are lists. And what we want to do, you in your game, you can plunk things down one by one by one, and that's a great way to do it. But when we're coding, we want to be efficient, and we want to, for example, animate things or make things move or make things do something as a list, like a long list of things. There's no point in doing things one by one by one because it just takes a long time. So I'm going to kind of introduce the topic of arrays and how arrays work. But before we do that, we need to set up a room that we're going to use our arrays in. So click on your tile map, and your tile map will look like this. I'm going to actually bump my tile map down to 16 by 16 so I'm not confusing anyone. I'm going to keep it nice and tight like that. And if you recall, when we first built our level, I asked you to have a part with a key, a part with a door, and a room that was sealed off. So in your tile map, if you have not made a room that's sealed off, please make a room right now that has nothing in it, kind of like a blank room. You can see I actually have one here and I have one here that I've created. So I'll give you like 2 minutes. If you've already done it, that's awesome. But if you don't, you need to create a room with walls around it. So make sure you use your walls and make sure no one can get into that room. The reasoning behind this is we're going to create a room and we're going to kind of fill it full of something using arrays. And we're going to talk about how we can use that to kind of advance our story. So I'll just give you another minute or so. Hopefully everyone's comfortable in tile maps, moving stuff around, putting walls in, erasing. We kind of talked about that a lot in our first session. So if you have any questions about that stuff, just shoot it into the chat there. If your room's all ready to go, that's awesome. Let's give you another minute here to make sure everyone's comfortable. Now, where I'm going to be working. Now, kind of one cool thing about functions is you can cinch them up. So if you click on the arrow, you can kind of get them all nice and small and kind of put them, away on the side. You can also you can also do this with your other blocks. If you right click on a block, you can collapse a block and make it really small. Your game is going to get pretty big after a while. So collapsing blocks and making them smaller is a great way to kind of free up space and give yourself more room to work with. As your game gets bigger, you're gonna have more and more of these, but it's a great way to kind of keep your brain from like, oh, there's way too much stuff going on here. So we are going to be working in our on start block for our arrays. So make sure you're over here. Make sure you have your room ready to go right here. And inside your room, I'd like you to come over to the side over in this area over here where our tiles are. I'd like you to click on My Tiles. Now in My Tiles, I would like you to choose the plus button, and then I would like you to create a red tile. So just click on the red, choose the paint bucket, and fill it full of red. This is going to be, we're going to do lava to start with, but I'm going to talk about how you can branch this out to be anything, water or anything like that. So for now, we're going to do lava. So just click it and fill it full of red, click done. And I want you to paint your room in here red. So just paint the entire room red like that and filled all the way up. Now, I guess I could do it to this room too if I wanted. I guess I'll have 2 rooms with that in it. These are going to be my 2 rooms that we're going to use arrays in. So I'll just give you a second and make sure everybody can get that done. It doesn't have to be red, obviously, but I just find if I make it the same color as the object that I'm creating, it kind of helps me remember what I'm doing. Okay, so once you have your 2 rooms filled up with the red color, we're going to click done. And we're going to come over, and I'm just going to cinch my advanced up so it's not so confusing. I'm going to come up to the block called loops. I'm going to click on loops, and I'm going to come all the way down to this one right here. And when we first pull it out, it's going to be kind of confusing, but we'll talk about how it works. So just pull it out and plunk it down below. Now, essentially what this is a list, as it says. What it does is it takes this, whatever is in here, and it puts it inside this variable called value. So whatever you put in here, it puts it inside like one thing. Now, why is this handy? Well, it's handy because we can animate or move things around as a large group rather than just individually. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into our scene, the one with the pine tree on it. Actually, it's probably not a pine tree, but whatever. And you're going to come all the way down, and there should be a block, and I always miss it. It's actually at the very, very bottom under locations, and it's called array of all checkerboard locations. It's like the 3rd block from the bottom. Let's pull that one out, and you're going to put it inside here. Now, this is saying any location that is red. So it's taking all of the bricks. So I think I must have like, I don't know how many I have here, maybe like 25 or 30 red bricks. It's going to grab all of them and it's going to put it inside the value block right here. as a variable, like a bucket, right? So once we've done that, we are going to come up, and the first time you do this, it's going to be kind of confusing. So I'm just going to walk you through it. So under sprites right here, you're going to grab this set my sprite to sprite blank. It's the one we do to create everything in the game. So drag it out and put it inside here. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we are going to click on my sprites and we're going to create a new variable. So we're going to create a brand new sprite. So click on new variable and call it lava, just like that. And come over to the side here, and we're going to set lava to sprite of kind player. That's not going to do very well for us because we already have a player value up here. So we're going to click on this. We're going to add a new kind, and we're going to call this capital L-A-V-A. So L-A-V-A, lava. So we're going to set the new variable called lava to this type of lava. So that sounds a bit confusing when we first do it, but like I said, just hang on here and we'll walk through what's going to happen. Now, once we've set this up, we have a new sprite called lava. We have all of these red blocks inside this value location. So we need to set this up so it's going to work. So the best thing to do, I find, is click on animations. Click on advanced, come down and click on animations right here. Now we haven't used these yet. They are similar to the animation blocks for movement, but they are just straight up animation blocks. They just animate things. So bring that out, put it inside here. And what you want to do is you want to animate, you don't want to animate my sprite because that's going to animate, if I come up here, that's going to animate my wizard. You don't want to animate him. You want to animate the lava. So I'm going to animate lava, and you can see right here, it asks you how you want to animate it. Now, before I do anything, I'm going to change this to 200, and I'm going to loop it. So I'm going to turn, so it's going to loop over and over and over again. So once I've got this, I'm just going to wait for 1 second here. These are a lot of steps, and I just want to make sure everyone's feeling okay with this. I know this seems like a lot of coding parts, but this part's pretty important. So I just want to, if anyone has any questions about where we are right now or is confused? We're okay? All right. So I'm going to click on the gray box. Oh, sorry. No problem. I will wait. No problem. So what we're going to do right here, once we've got, and I'll zoom in on this so you can see it so it's closer. We are going to build out an animation for lava. So if you want to go ahead and do that right now, you can go ahead and build that animation out. Now I'll build one out here too, and I'll show you how I would build out a lava animation. Might be a bit different than you, but it's going to be kind of looking straight down on the lava as it kind of, where did the red block? Sorry, question is, where did I get the sprite? Sorry, my text is the sprite block. This block right here is under sprites, and it's right at the top under create. It's the very first one right here. So under sprites and then under create is the top one. That's where I got that one. And the second block, this one, is just my advanced and animation block right here. But make sure you change the name, create a new name called lava, and create a new type called lava. That's really important to make sure that this is going to work. Excuse me. Kendrick, did that answer your question? Cool. All right, so let's click on here and let's look at how we can create an animation block. Now, you can build this out yourself and try and build lava out. You can like try and color it up and create lava, or you can click on gallery. And they have a lot of different blocks in here. Now, I'm trying to find, actually, I don't know if this one has the lava block in it. So we might have to actually build it out by hand, but that's okay. Lava's not too hard to make. I don't see the lava one in here. Yeah, I don't. Unless someone else can find it faster than I can. Might be missing it. I think these are just all the sprite blocks. So no, don't see one. Okay, so we'll build one out by hand. So click on it, cover it up red. So just use your red kind of color. And then you can take just kind of the yellow and you can kind of move the yellow around. And I just create kind of a random pattern of yellow. Maybe it's better that we're actually building it out like this. It gives us a little more artwork to do. So I'm just going to kind of make it like that. And you can add a bit of orange into it. I always add a little bit of orange dots into my lava to kind of keep it, you know, it's got that magma kind of feel to it. And this is pretty random patterning that I'm creating here. Now, the best thing to do when you have, let's say, lava or water or something that is shifting in your game, which most students will have something like that, is you can copy it, and all you do is you grab your marquee tool and take chunks of it out and alter those chunks around. So just move those chunks and move them around a little bit in your level. And then you can come in and recolor the places that you have moved away from. And I'll show you why this looks pretty good in a second. So I'm just going to do that up, and I'm going to grab another marquee tool. I'm just going to kind of move these little chunks around bit by bit. And I guess we're kind of doing another animation here, but this will all make sense in a second. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to color a little bit of these areas here. I'm just using my orange actually for the coloring. Now, if I come over here and I'm going to run my lava at 100, play, you can see, I mean, I'm not doing the best job. I would actually move them around a little bit more because mine's looking kind of like a big bowl of jelly. So you could grab and you keep using your marquee tool and you keep moving these pieces around, and eventually it will get like a kind of lava-like look to whatever you're building out. So I'll give everyone a little bit more time to work on theirs. You can see there's mine there. Actually, that lava looks too jiggly. I'm going to do 200. Maybe it's moving a little bit too fast. There we go. Actually, 100 was too fast. Yeah, you could totally rotate the image too. That's a really good idea. Let's try that out. Oh, that's good. I never thought of that. You could rotate it, and then yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Thanks, Cassandra. That's good. Really good idea. Copy button. We're not copying anything here. We're just drawing it. So the copy button, if you're asking about these pieces, you can just click on the copy part next to the trash can. And Cassandra had a really good point. You could actually just flip it. So every single frame, you can just put a new frame in, and you can rotate it using these tools right here. And then you've got your lava kind of moving around. Sweet. Well, I'm going to use that one next time. I'm not redrawing it. Sorry, Dina, did that make sense? We're not copying anything over. We were just creating brand new lava from scratch. Now you can do water too, obviously. It doesn't have to be lava, but lava I just think is kind of a nice standard. Okay, I'm gonna come down and click done here. And if you hover over my lava, it will show the kind of lava animation here. And this is looking pretty good, but it's still not, if I come up to my game and I click play, it's got like a lava block here that's sitting, it's pretty useless. It's not really doing what we want it to do. So what we want to do now is we want to get this lava into the correct place. So what we want to do is we want to click on scene, and we want to come all the way down again, and this is the last piece of code that you need. And it's this one under tile map operations. So I'll wait a second for everyone to find this one here. So it's under tile map operations. It's called place my sprite on top of tile, column, and row. So you pull this out, put it at the bottom, just like that. And what you do is you place the lava, which is our lava block right here, on top of this value. So what you do is you drag the value out and you put it in here like that. And now, up here, you can see I have now animated probably 30 blocks of lava without having to animate individual blocks of lava. So I'm just going to kind of focus on this right here. I don't know, maybe some of you might have missed this last step, just dragging value out and putting it in there like that. So I'll stop for a second, and I know this code's a little, might be a little confusing, but I'll just stop there and see if anyone has any questions about that code or how this code is laid out. I'll zoom in on it like really close. Right there. Let's wait there for a sec. An error. Okay. Yeah, let's look good. So Janine, you have an error in your code. So best thing to do here, Janine, and actually let's troubleshoot your code right now.
Can you hear me?
Go? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I've been struggling with tech. I think I pulled the wrong time map operations.
And which part would that be? In the part we're in right now or somewhere else?
No, in the part we're in right now.
Okay, so let's see here. The first part, do
Oh,
you have
I
4
fixed
elements?
it.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Yep.
sweet. Could you explain to me what it was? I just like to know.
Yep. So I pulled in instead of place like my sprite on top of, and then it says tile map column row, I put it on
Ah,
top of random.
got it. Yeah, because actually that's quite confusing. You're right, because that one's right here, right below it, right?
Right.
So
And I
easy
saw
to
value
yeah.
as being singular versus like column
Hmm.
and row. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Good. Glad you managed to troubleshoot that, because
Mhm.
at some point here, one of us is going to get a bug, and we'll go through it how to debug it. But that's awesome that you got it. You caught it yourself. Sweet.
Thank you.
That's all good. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about this process? And I know it's a bit confusing and looks a bit convoluted, but this process is really powerful. And the reason it's powerful is because all you have to do, and I'm going to back out, is you can take this entire process, you can copy it, and you can now my game will throw an error. Actually, it's not throwing an error for some reason, but you could change this to be blue. You could change this to be water, and you could animate entire parts of your level as water with only a couple changes in your code. So this array, or using arrays to make your life easier when you're coding, I know we're not looking at story element right now, we're looking at more at design, is a really important piece of code to understand. So if you're going to bookmark any code, this is a very, very important one to bookmark. Okay, so nice. Okay, Janine actually gave me hers. Check this out. This is looking good. I love it. The princess in the castle. This is awesome. That looks good.
I definitely jack your code and then just like copied and pasted my sprite from my last one.
It's all good. It's perfect. It's all about jacking other people's code. That's all I've ever done. That's great. Okay, so yeah, we've got our lava done. And like I said, you can use that for water and you can use that for a lot of things. And the importance of this code is understanding that arrays are simply lists that you place in a variable, and then you're creating a sprite called lava. You're animating it, and you're placing that lava sprite, which is all of this, into the value. This is the value right here, which contains all of the list. So it's a little bit convoluted about understanding it, but it's important that your students do understand how this code works and why this code is very important, because arrays and lists are a key part of understanding programming. And I know we're talking about story and design, but we're also talking about coding at the same time. So before I move on to the next little portion here, we're going to kind of look at how we can create choices. Does anyone have any more questions about arrays or lists and how we can use them? Good. Okay, cool. All right, so I want to get a little farther into another section here, and this section is talking about kind of the story design part and how we're going to create what are called cutscenes. So we're going to create, if you remember, and I mean, I might be dating myself here. I'm 46. So I used to read a lot of choose your own adventure books when I was a kid. And in choose your own adventure books, you go one way or you go another. And if you go the wrong way, you usually die inside of the story, or you end up something bad happens to you. So one really cool element of interactive storytelling or game design, which is what we're looking at here, is the option to give the character or the player choice, and that choice will result in two different paths that they can go down. It is one of the huge advantages of video games, and the reason why people play video games is because the element of choice allows them to feel like they're choosing their path. So essentially, they're kind of choosing which way their story goes. So in order for us to get farther into what this looks like, we need to add another extension. So what we're going to do is, first of all, let's come up to our tile map here. And my thought is we are going to, oops, sorry, I didn't want to do anything there. We're going to create a tile here, a tile somewhere in our level. So find a place in your level that doesn't really have anything in it. And we're going to create a tile that gives our character some choice. Now the choice here, I thought, and you can do any type of choice you want, or you can totally copy mine, is that it's going to lead to a room. It's going to open a secret door and lead to a room. Or if you choose the wrong choice, you get the old sleeping arrow. The sleeping arrow I thought might be a good way to put the character to sleep, and that's the end of the game. So that's what kind of the choice I'm looking at. You can do anything you want, but we'll look at that kind of choice menu. So to start this off, I'm going to click on My Tiles. I'm going to click the plus sign, and you should do the same. And I'd like you to create a unique tile, a tile that is not in your level, that doesn't look like any of the other tiles. So I'm just going to kind of plunk away here and create sort of a strange looking tile. I guess last time I created kind of a cracked tile. I'll kind of do the same. Like I said, I'm not much of an artist when it comes to this kind of thing. And I'm just going to, maybe I'll do a little more gray on mine. And the reason you're using a unique tile is this tile is going to be our trigger tile that will trigger the choice that the character has to make. So I think that's probably good enough. And I will call this, I'm going to go down to my tile 1 on the bottom, and I'm going to call this trigger 1. Like I said, it's good to name your assets. So if you have to come back, you can know where they are. I'm going to click done. I'm going to place my trigger tile right here. Now, my thought is, and I think probably since we're kind of starting this out, is that you want to place it so the dart will come from the left and go right. So the dart will be on the x-axis and will come this way. So I suggest wherever you place your tile, the dart is going to come from this direction, okay? So I don't know where you're going to place yours. And what I would also suggest to make this a little bit more believable is you place a lever in front of the tile. We'll make it feel like the character has a lever to pull or something like that. Now, if your game is like a forest game, you don't have to use a lever. You can use a certain type of tree or anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on gallery, and you're more than welcome to copy me here. Is I'm going to go right, and I'm going to choose, I can't remember where the levers are. Here they are. So there's a lever here. It's like the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 5th one down under dungeon. I'm just going to choose the lever tile, and I'm going to put a lever right in front of my character. You don't have to put anything there. It doesn't matter. But I think for believability, I think the lever is just kind of a cool tile that I'm going to use. Okay, I'm just going to stop there for a second. I don't want to jump ahead too far. I just want to make sure everyone has the basic setup for our choice in our story. Is everyone okay, or does anyone need any help about where we are or anything like that? Pretty good. Silence. Okay. So once we have our lever set up and we have our special tile below that, I'm just going to click done here. And I am going to come over here. I'm going to come all the way over. Now, the way I like to build my game out generally, or my story out, is I like to go from left to right. That way I can go back to my code and be like, okay, what did I do in this part of my code? So my animations were here. My function animations were kind of here. And obviously I can't move my element, this piece of code, but I'm kind of moving in a linear direction this way with my code. You can build your code. Some people like to build their code out like they stack the certain types of code they use. But for me, I find sequential building of your storyline and your code is easiest. So over here in this blank section of our coding environment, we're going to click on scene. And we're going to come down. And we're going to use this block. Now, you should be familiar with this block because we've used it before. It's called on sprite of kind player overlaps something, and it's one of our standard blocks that we like to use when we want a trigger to happen. So as you might have guessed, we're going to be clicking on the tile map, and we're going to be choosing that special kind of weird tile. Oh, I have 2, but this is why we name it. You can see I actually called this trigger 1. When I hover over it, it actually says trigger 1. So that makes it easier for me to know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so now that I've got my sprite of kind player overlaps my trigger, I want something to happen at this location. So what I'm going to do is I first of all need to indicate that I have actually at that location. If you do not remove this tile, this code will play again and again and again, and it won't stop. So you always have to remove the tile from the location. So come down to scene, and it is down here, I believe. Actually, sorry, it's this one right here. So it's the one called under tile map operations, and it's set checkerboard at this one right here. And I think we have used this before. We did use it before with our key indoor. So pull that one out, and you're going to grab the location, and you're just going to put the location here. And here you're going to change this to a basic tile. So I'm just going to change that to my basic kind of like gray tile with nothing in it. Okay. All right. So once we have that, so let's play test that. So I'm just going to click A. I'm going to come down. I got my beautiful lava. I'm going to come all the way down here. I'm going to walk over this tile, and bang, it changes it to that different tile. Like I said, if you don't do that, your code's going to run again and again and again. So you want to make sure that this is replaced right here. Okay. I'll just pause for a quick, like 15 seconds here and see if anyone is having trouble with that or is concerned about how that's working right there. Everyone good? Okay. So once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to use what are called cutscenes. So cutscenes are choices. So we're going to come over to our extensions, and I just love extensions because it just makes the coding so much easier. And you're going to come all the way down to the bottom, and we are going to grab our arcade story right here. It's kind of like this happy face and this sad face right here. So grab that. And that'll take a second to kind of start out. And under once you have grabbed that, we have something called story. And story has all these like crazy like brown blocks in it. And these blocks are all for building out, well, they're for building out a story inside of your game, which is essentially what we're working on here. So what you want to do is once you have your story extension, sorry, I'll do that one more time. So that was extensions, and that was called the arcade story extension right here with a happy face and sad face. So come over here, and we are going to work inside this block with our story extension. So what we're going to do is whenever you do a story, you have to do what's called a cut scene. So when I am click on story, you'll notice the cut scene is the third kind of area down right here. And so you want to grab start cut scene and you place it just under your block right here. What this does is this basically stops the game and creates kind of a conversation or a story kind of cut scene that comes into your game. So once we have that in here, I am going to then use what's called a print character text block. So I'm going to come back down to my story block, and you'll notice they're under text, which is this one right here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the fifth one down is called a print character text block. So I'm going to bring that in, and like I said, I'm going to keep this part of my story fairly straightforward. And I'm just going to say, let's see here. It looks, like there are 2 levers here. I'm just going to say that on my screen. And I'm just going to then duplicate that block. So I'm going to make a copy of it. And then I'm just going to type in which one should I choose? And then just kind of have a question mark there to give a choice. So while you are working on getting that into your game, I am just going to see if that actually works. So let's click here. Don't worry about that. I'm going to have to read. Sometimes if you see weird code like that, just restart your editor and kind of just start again. Sometimes you can see like buggy code that just pops up. It can happen. Okay, so let's come down here. I'm going to walk down to the bottom of my level, hit here, and it says, it looks like there are 2 levers here. Which one should I choose? Okay, cool. And then the game just stops and the game continues on its direction. So we're actually getting into some pretty cool code here. So I'm just going to pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions about that or how that's made or what's going on here?
Did you put in a second lever?
No, I didn't. Sorry, and I actually should have done that before. It's not very realistic, is it, when there's only one lever, right? So yeah, I'll pop in a second lever under my gallery here. I was like gonna do that. And I'm like, oh no, second lever. Who needs that? So here's my second lever right there. And yeah, so there they are. That's a little more realistic, eh? Not just one. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, were there any more questions about this part we were working on right here? Is everyone all right? Cool. All right, so let's get into the choose your own adventure kind of part of this code, because this is pretty powerful stuff and your students will really be wondering how this works. So what we need to do is we need to make a choice. In order to make a choice, we need to click on story. And we're going to come down to the part down here, and it's called menu right here. So under menu, it has show player choices, and it has two choices. So just pull this out, and we're going to keep our choices for what we're working on really simple. So I'm going to go left lever, or I'm going to choose the right lever. If I want to create more choices, I just click the plus sign and I can create, you can create as many choices as you want. But for our purposes, we're just going to do a left or a right lever. So it's going to make the player has to just choose one. Okay, sorry, everyone, give me 1 sec here. I'm just going to actually turn my light on. It's really dark here. We have like a blizzard outside, so give me 1 sec. Okay, sorry. I'm living in Rossland, really far away from probably most of you, and we have like a monstrous blizzard going on outside right now. So it's kind of crazy. Okay. Am I up north? No, not up north. Kind of like, I don't know if you know where Nelson is or Trail. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Rossland, it's great, but it's like 6 months of winter. If you love skiing, it's like the place to be. Good mountain biking too, but you gotta like 6 months of winter, you gotta be okay with that. Yeah, it's good. I just have to get used to it. Yeah, I know. Caslow. Oh, yeah, probably similar, right? You probably get a similar amount of snow we are. I was actually shocked coming home. There was cars all over the road, semis and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But we're in here making a story, so here we are, I guess. And I've still got power, so that's a good thing. We're going, moving along. Are you? Oh yeah, cold weather warning. I know. It's like I thought it was like springtime. It was warming up and everything. I was just skiing on the weekend, and then now it's like, whoa, we're back in winter again. Awesome. Great. Here we are. Okay, so to continue along what we were talking about, we are making a choice for the player. And what we want to do now is we want to do a conditional. And if you remember, we used a conditional, which is an if statement for our key. So we said if the Boolean, I'll go back over to it. Why am I just guessing? I'm going to open up my thing here. I said if the door locked equals true, then this happens. So there is our conditional. So we're going to use another conditional over here to choose which way our story goes. So we'll come into logic here, and I am going to grab an if-else block. I'm not going to grab the top one. I'm going to get a little more complicated. I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'm just going to put it right below my choice. So as I mentioned before, code is sequential. So we'll run through this code from top to bottom. And we need to basically say, well, if they choose I'm going to choose the left lever, then they get the poison dart, or sorry, the sleeping dart. So what we'll do is we'll come, once we've got our conditional placed in here, we're going to come back to story, and we're going to come all the way down to the bottom. And this one called last answer equals is our piece of code that we want. So we're going to drag it out. We're going to plunk it inside here. And here's where spelling is important. And I know spelling is probably something all literacy people that are teaching literacy think about. This what you say in here has to be spelled exactly the same as the choices here. What it's doing behind the scenes here in our JavaScript is it's taking a string called left lever, and it's basically saying, okay, if you equal left lever, that exact spelling of that string, then something is going to occur here. So let's just test our code, because you don't want to be building code out and be like, it's not even working. Like I said, the code will bug out a little bit unless you reload it. So let me come down here and let's see if this runs. So it looks like, don't mind where it says left lever here. It's not going to do that if I reload it. So I'm hitting my A button. Which one should I choose? And here, this is really cool. Ignore this, please. You can go up or down on your keyboard, and you can choose left lever or right lever. and just hit A, and it will choose. Nothing happens because I haven't put any code in for anything to work. But you can see, and that left lever is really bugging me. Hopefully it'll just reload my code and get rid of that. I don't know why it does that. You can see it takes care of a lot of the code behind the scenes and creates a choice for our character. So we're going to choose the left lever, and we're going to say if that left lever is pulled, we'll fire out the dart. Now you're probably wondering, how do we like fire out a dart? Well, it's the steps to make it are very similar to a lot of the other things we've done. So click on sprites, grab your set my sprite, which is the one we always use when we create a sprite, pull it out, plunk it in here, and we'll click on here and we'll change the name of it so we're not confused. I'm going to call this sleeping dart. That's pretty easy to remember. And I'm going to make it of kind, I'm going to make it a dart. That way I always capitalize this. It's just easy for me to remember. So I set sleeping dart to sprite, whatever it is, of kind dart. And then I'm just going to draw a dart in here. I don't think I'm very good at drawing darts, but I'm going to attempt to draw a sleeping dart. It's probably green. I don't know why I'm choosing green. Maybe that's more like a poison dart, but maybe sleep. It could be a sleeping dart too. So let's make it like that. This is probably the third dart I've ever drawn in my life, right here. Okay, and that should be fairly reasonable. So I'll stop for a second. I'm kind of jumping ahead here. But is everyone okay with drawing their dart? I'm just going to click here, and I've got my if last answer equals left lever, then set sleeping dart to sprite of kind dart. Now, when you do this, you'll notice, I think it's actually, I don't know where it places the dart in your level. It should place it somewhere. I don't. Then it's going to run through this code. I don't think it's going to place the dart near you. My guess is it's not. So let's see here. Oh, I'm going to choose left. If I click left lever, it's actually created the dart. And let's see, I think the dart's going to be up here. There it is. My dart's actually stuck in the wall right now. So it's created the dart, but it always puts the dart in the same place in the level. So that's kind of useless to us. That dart is not very threatening when it's stuck in a wall. So what we want is we want that dart to start on a very special a very special place on our level. So to make that happen, we're going to place the dart on top of a tile map. So let's come over to our tile map, our level. Let's click on our tile map. And I want my dart to start right here. I think that's a good place for a dart to kind of come out of the wall. I don't know what your level looks like. I have no idea. But I'm going to start my dart right here. If you don't have a wall, just start your dart somewhere to the left of your character, somewhere on the left-hand side of your character. So if I hover over here, you can see down here on the left, the coordinates for that are 5 and 14. So I want my dart to start on tile map 514. So let's come back here. And I'm going to come way back over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my scene button, and I'm going to come all the way down to that place tab. So if you remember, and this is, I think, where, sorry, I forgot who it was, and I do this all the time. You get mixed up between these two pieces of code right here. You're going to grab the top one. So it says place my sprite on top of column and row. So grab it out, and you're going to place the sleeping dart, which is this one right here. Oh my goodness, I've already forgotten. I think it's 514. I talk too much, and then I can't remember. I'm going to assume it's 514, and we'll see if I'm right or not. Now, what I'm going, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
I
Sorry,
wrote it down because I don't.
You do write it down. Perfect. Thank you. I don't write stuff down enough and I forget. Sorry, go ahead. Does anyone have another question, or is everyone okay? Okay, cool. Just Mike's moving around. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to print text. So I'm going to take this top text. I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to say, you know, something shocking like a dart. I'm going to say, watch out. Okay. If I can spell watch right. Watch out. All right, so a dart, watch out. So it's going to, if I pull the left lever, dart appears on that tile map and it says a dart, watch out. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to disable our character's movement, because if you don't, your character will be able to get away. And you know, it's unfortunate, but we don't want our character to go anywhere. We want to stop them from moving around. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on controller. You're going to grab the move my sprite button. You're going to put it here. And all you're going to do is you're going to click it and you're going to set it to 0 and 0. That makes it so our character cannot move and they're stuck in one spot. And this is the kind of sad part. We want the dart to hit the character. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically put a certain amount of velocity on the dart. We're going to like shoot the dart out. So click on sprites, and it's the one under physics. I don't know if we've used a physics tab before. Oh, we have. We've used the set my sprite X to bump our sprite back during the key in the door. But we're going to grab this one. It says set my sprite velocity to Vx and Vy. Pull that one out. And we are going to set the dart. Where's my sleeping dart? We're going to set the Vx velocity to, I'm going to put it at 100. It's going to come out pretty fast. And I'm going to set the Y to, not negative. I'm going to set it to 0. Okay. Whoops, not 260. That is not what we want. So to walk through this code, I pull the left lever. A dart then appears on this specific tile map. It says a dart, watch out. My character freezes and it launches. It pushes that dart. Now I've done all that, but let's see if it actually works. So I'm going to come out here, come down. My wizard is unexpected of what's going to happen. Okay, so it looks like now I can still move around here. You can see that, right? It looks like there are 2 levers. Which one should I choose? Okay, left lever or right lever? So left lever, a dart, watch out, and then hit, and the dart goes right through me. Okay, so that isn't really going to work very well, but we'll talk about what we need to do next. Okay, I'm going to stop there for a second and just wait. I know this is a lot of code, but hopefully you're gaining some good skills here to build some of your own ideas out. Does anyone have any questions about where I am or what's going on right now with this code? Good. Okay, so you'll notice that the dart went right through me and didn't do anything. So we want the dart when it connects with the player. We're just going to say, we're going to keep it really simple. We're just going to say game over, essentially. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to sprites. I'm going to come all the way down to here, and it says on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind player. It's the one under overlaps right here. Bring that out. And on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite of kind, and I think it's called dart. Yeah. So when those two overlap, we are simply going to run game and game over. This is our first game over, actually. Not game over win, game over lose. You definitely don't want a game over win. So let's see if this actually works. And I'm just going to leave this up here. I'm going to make this bigger. Click A. So we're coming down. We've got to make a choice. I'll come down here. It looks like now I think I should fix that code because I can actually leave. Which one should I choose? And then here I'm going to choose the left lever, a dart. Watch out. Now I can't move. I'm stuck. And now you can't hear it, but there is a sound that plays when I do that. I'm going to click A, and then it restarts my level again from the start. So I'm just going to pause here for a second because that's a lot of code to look at and figure out what's going on. Does anyone have any questions about how you can use this code, or what else I could do with it? Yeah, please ask away. I'm just going to wait a second. I've been talking quite a bit. Okay. Okay, hold on one second here. The code is great, but I'm having an issue with the overlap code. So can I have my dart start on a wall? Yeah, if you want, you can start your dart anywhere, really. You could have it start, let's see, if I wanted to start on a wall, it should go through the wall. Now let me figure this out. That's a good question. I think if we click on sprites and we come down here and it's under, yeah, it's right down here. So it's under effects, this one right here. And if you come all the way down, it says set my sprite auto destroy off. It's right here on the very bottom. If you put that under here and you change it to sleeping dart and you set it to ghost through walls right here, that will, I think, allow it to start on the wall and go right through the wall. That's a really good question. That will set it through the wall. Is there a way to set, sorry, there's a bunch of questions here. I'm just going through them one by one. Now, first of all, Kendrick, you're having issues with the overlap code. I'll answer that in a second. Can I have my dart start on a wall? I've answered that question. Is there a way to make the text box smaller? I don't, yeah, there probably is. Right here, this third one down is called print something at camera in box width and height. So you can change the width and the height. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that in this class, but this is how you would make the text box smaller. So you can experiment around with that one. Sorry, I'm just going down through the code bit by bit here. The text, sorry. Is there a way to make text animation show up faster? You can. Let's see here. There's probably something in here inside of this that's going to make it show up faster. I just don't know that I've used it before. So yeah, sorry, I can't answer that question without running through this story code a little bit more. Okay, my player doesn't trigger the cutscene. Okay, so it should trigger the cutscene. It's not your player that triggers the cutscene. It's the it says on sprite of kind player. So this has to be player overlaps that special sprite right here. So if it has to overlap that special sprite at the location, and then that will start the cutscene. So if anything is set up incorrectly in this chunk of code, this top piece, it won't start the cutscene right here, Kendrick. So Kendrick, maybe in a bit, Kendrick, actually what you can do is maybe I can help you troubleshoot this right now. Click the share up here, click share project, copy the project and put it in the chat and I can troubleshoot it right here if you'd like. That's fine. Yeah, sorry, I tried to answer, I think I answered some of the questions here. And yeah, feel free to experiment around with this. I use this sometimes. I don't use it all the time though, but I think it's a pretty cool way for students to, all right, Kendrick, let me just jump into your code here. So let's see here. Kendrick, can you see my screen? Can you see what I'm showing you right now? Sorry, I just want to make sure you can't see it. Okay, hold on one second. Let me see what's going on. That should trigger your cutscene. All your code looks perfect. Give me a sec here. Let me try and click play on it. Okay, yours is similar to mine. And no, Kendrick, it does trigger it. Yeah, everything works. I'm looking at it right now and I'm running right through it and it's running through all the code just as it should. Yeah, the way when I play it, it runs fine. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on your end. I'm not really sure why. Maybe try reloading it. So Kendrick, when I have a problem like that, click up here, click enter, and it will reload your entire screen. And it might just be a bug or something weird going on with your code on your end. I'm not really sure. But on my end, it's playing like perfectly. And come back again and we'll figure it out if it's not working. Okay, yeah, so that is kind of, I know that's kind of brief and I know there's a lot more options in here, but I just kind of want to run through like a basic code kind of section here. Now, once this is all set out, you'll notice that I have the left lever and I have the right lever. Now down here under else, oh, cool, yeah, sometimes it's just reloading it and that solves the bug. You'll notice we have the left lever is obviously our game over, and that's kind of a sad way to have our game go. But we have this else block on the bottom, which can then push our storyline in a completely different direction. So this conditional right here, this coding conditional, allows you to branch your game whichever way you want. So before I go on here, I'll just kind of pause for a second and see if anyone has any more questions on it. I kind of want to see what kind of way we can move our game and kind of look at what other direction we can go with it. Okay, so let's just kind of look back on our code and kind of, I'm going to move this way to make sure we've got everything kind of in order. It's always good to go back and organize your code so it's in a very kind of, like I talked about, sequential kind of setup. That way, if you go back and you're like, oh man, I made some kind of crazy mistake here, I have no idea what to do, you can always go back and be like, okay, that was the first part of my code, second part, third part, fourth part, and I'm kind of moving up to here like that. So yeah, does anyone have any more questions on what is going on there or what we were doing? I'll kind of wait here for a second. We're good? Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at our second pathway. Now we have our first pathway, which is not really working out very well for us. We don't want to pull the lever and get the poison dart. What we want to talk about now is our second pathway. And this is our, and I'll zoom in on this, and this is our else statement right here. So what we want to happen is we want to have, and I'll come back over to my original tile map here. My thought is when they pull the lever here, it opens up a door here and it creates a pathway to, I don't know, let's say a treasure chest down here or something like that. Something like a secret area for the player to get, or an area where the story kind of gets a little bit, kind of takes it in another direction. So what we want to do this is we need to create a second tile map. And you're kind of thinking, well, why am I creating a second tile map? Can't I somehow alter my original tile map and add maybe like a secret pathway that just kind of like chunk, like goes down and goes this way? You can, but the amount of code it's going to take to do that is not worth it. What we want to do is we are just going to create a duplicate of our tile map, and we're basically going to add a secret pathway into it. Oh, sorry. Is there any way to randomize the choice of left or right? And so they can't figure it out? There probably is, and hold on one second here. Let's see. If I've never really thought about that before, but maybe under the math, and I've never done this, you can get, I don't know if that's, I wonder if I can do it with the math. So if I click no, it won't let me add it in. I was looking at like a pick random one here. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just going to see. That's a really good question. I've never really thought about that. I don't see a randomization in here. Under advanced, do we have a randomization under text? Don't see one here. So you know what? I will get back to you on that. That's a really good question. And Kyle, I will figure that out. Yeah, no worries. That's a great question. I can't see a random. The only random, yeah, it's all good. My screen's not working, so no one even knows what I look like. It's all good. The only random I know of is the math random. But there is a way to do it. It just takes me a bit to figure out. Okay, so sorry, any more questions? Does anyone have any more questions they'd like to ask? I love these questions. They're good. They're like help me a lot too with different ideas for building this stuff out. So back to what I was talking about. Here, we were going to build a pathway out that was going to lead to some kind of secret item or something like that. So what I'd like you to do, if you're following along with me, is we are going to grab the marquee tool and let's highlight our entire level, which is our level 1. Hold down Control and hit C. So that's copying your tile map here. Click Done. And then what you're going to do is click on Scene. And sorry, come way back over this way. I know it's getting confusing where we are. Come back to your conditional. So under your conditional, we're working on our else block right here. And we are going to grab our scene, and we're going to come all the way down to our set tile map to tile map, which is this one right here. We use this at the very start. Pull it out and plunk it in here. And we're going to set tile map to and hit Control V, and that's going to paste the copy of our tile map in here. And it'll all make sense in a minute. This might seem a bit confusing right now, but it all makes sense in a minute why we're doing this. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to add a walkway. Now, this is my level, obviously. Maybe some of you look exactly like my level, but add a walkway on top of the lava to a point right here. And on the point, on the end point right here, whatever this is, I think I'm going to add like a little treasure chest. So I'm going to click dungeon, and I can't remember. There's the treasure chest right there, and I'm just going to put a little treasure chest on the end. It doesn't have to be a treasure chest. It can be whatever you want. It can be like a Oh, sorry. Yeah, no problem, Angela. Would you like me to do that again? I'll do that one more time. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. Let me do that one more time for you. I'll back up. So I came over to my tile map, clicked on my tile map right here. I used my marquee tool, which is this tool right next to the hand. I highlighted the entire tile map, just like that. Control C, I copied it, and I come all the way back to my conditional. I am grabbing my scene, sorry, here, and I'm grabbing my tile map, and I'm pasting it. Sorry if I'm repeating any steps for you, Angela. And all I'm doing is I am on my dungeon right now, and I am adding a tile. I'm going to choose this tile, and I'm going to create a walkway all the way down to the end. And I am going to put a, sorry, I'm going to put a chest on the very end of my walkway. Angela, is that okay? Just want to make sure everyone feels good about where we are. Okay, so once we've got that all set up, we are going to, on this map, in scene. Sorry, which part, sorry, Angela, which part do you mean by scene? Oh, I'll jump down. Set tile map. Oh, sorry. My bad. Scene right here. Yes, set tile map. It's this one right here, Angela, right here under tile maps, under scene. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the scene in here. That one right there. Okay, is that okay, Angela? Going to make sure you're all right. Cool. Okay, so once you're in here, I want you to remove the wall block here. Now I know, like I said, I don't know what your levels look like, but I have a wall block here, so I'm going to remove the wall block, and I am going to put a just a regular tile in front of it like that. So now it makes it look like the door is opened up and you can kind of walk down this way. Now this is kind of important. Do not, you should not leave this lava open because they'll walk on the lava. So what I always do whenever I have, if you want to be really mean, you could have it so when they touch this lava, the character dies, but I would not do that. It's not a good idea. I always block off, and I'll use my pencil tool. Now you can't see it because the lava is red, but I would block off all of the lava with walls. And the lava is red, like I said, you can't see it, but you do not want them walking on the lava. That doesn't look very realistic. If you remember the old Legend of Zelda games, I think there was levels with lava in them, and you couldn't even walk on the lava. So block off the lava with walls. That's going to be an important part. Like I said, unless you want to be really harsh and have it so when they touch the lava, the character dies, but it's not a good idea. Okay, is everyone okay with that? I just want to make sure everyone has their second tile map set up. Mine actually says level 3 on the bottom, and that's okay. I'm going to leave it as level 3. I'm not sure what yours says. Mine says level 3 down there. So I'm going to click done. And what I'm going to do now is, now that I have my second tile map set up and ready to go, I am going to grab my story block. Now, mine says print character text a dart, watch out. I'm just going to take that, duplicate it, and I'm going to put it right above the tile map. So what happens is if I pull the right lever, it says a secret room, like that. So else block, it says a secret room. If you remember, if we pull the left lever, it pulls this code, but if we pull the right lever is the else block. It basically else, if it doesn't run the left lever, then it runs else. So what it does, this is a secret room, and it sets the tile map to this tile map right here. Now, where this becomes a problem, and this is, you wouldn't know this unless you'd actually run it, is it's going to, the problem with arrays, and I'm going to jump back here, this array right here, this array, even if you change the tile map, like if I switch from this tile map to the next tile map, this array of lava will stay. The reason the array of lava stays is because it's in front of everything else. We need to destroy this array of lava, and we need to call it again. And it all sounds a bit confusing, but if you do not destroy arrays between switching levels, the arrays will stay along with the new level. So we're going to come back here and we need to destroy the array of lava. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over to our loops. And if you remember, I'm just going to come down here and it says for element value of list. We've already used this before. And you're just going to come in right here. I put it like in between. Oops, sorry. Oh, I did not do that correctly. Put it in between your print character text and your set tile map, in between these two right here. And once you've done that, you are going to come all the way up to the top. And this sprites thing right here, you're going to come down, and I always have a bit of trouble finding this one. It's a bit on the hard side, but it's called life cycle right here. And it's called array of sprites of kind player. So what this is going to do is this, if I change this to lava, it's going to destroy all of the lava sprites in the level. It's going to destroy them all and make sure they all disappear. And it's not going to destroy them until we tell them to. So it's going to take this entire array of lava sprites, going to put inside value, and then we're going to grab sprites. We're going to come all the way down, and it's this one called effects and destroy. Destroy my sprites. So put that in, and we're going to destroy. We're not going to destroy my sprite. We're going to destroy the value. So that was, sorry, that was a little bit of extra code we added in there, but trust me, it will look a lot better if we do it this way. Now, the problem is, and this is why we use functions, and this is a great example of using functions. Once we've destroyed the lava, like we've destroyed the lava, we need to re-add the lava, okay? But the cool thing about adding the lava here is the lava will only go on the red. If you left the lava array, it would cover everything up. So what you want to do here is you want to come down to your functions tab and you want to call, oh, you know what? We haven't created an, I keep talking about a lava function, but we don't have a lava function yet. So that's something that we need to create. We have our lava created over here, but we haven't created it into a function yet. So I'm just going to hang out here for a second before I do that, and I want to see if anyone has any questions about where we are or what we're doing right now. I'll just kind of wait a second here because we're getting into a little bit more complicated code, and I just want to make sure that no one gets lost in this. We just got 2 more pieces of code here, and then we're done with the coding. Does anyone have any questions about this part I've created right here, or why I've created it? Yep.
Is there an easy way for when they choose the wrong lever that they can't move? You know how they can still move when there's like, oh, there's a dart coming. You're like, ha ha ha, sucker.
Yeah, well, you could pull this out and stop them moving. Like, are you talking about this block right here?
Yeah.
You could pull that block out and you can run it right at the start of your cutscene right here. Like you could run it right at the top. I would actually, you know what? That's a better place for it, is to put it up there. So that way they're not able to move through your entire scene right here. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
It won't let me pull it without pulling the
oh, sorry, yeah.
velocity.
Hold down control on your keyboard. If you hold down control, yeah, that's super handy. So this is that's a great point for everyone. Hold down control and you can pull out individual blocks. Otherwise, it pulls out the entire chunk of block, which is really a pain. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, sorry, before I move on, does anyone have any questions about this? And I know, I'm sorry, this part is a bit confusing, but it's important that you destroy the old array of lava. You have to destroy the old one and then add a new one. So I know it's a bit confusing, but it's just part of the process. We're good? Okay, so once we've destroyed the old lava from the old tile map, it destroys all of the lava. It destroys all of the lava in the old tile map. We need to re-add new lava to it. So what we're going to do here, to make this easy, we're going to take this out. We're going to take out our whole like create array portion right here, and we're going to turn it into a function. So what we're going to do is come down to functions. We're going to click on make a function, and we're going to create a new function. We're going to call it lava. Oh, I guess I can do it, not capitals. So there we go. Oh, I already have a variable named lava already exists. Ooh, I better change this one. I'm going to call this lava make then. If you get something like that, that means you already have it. So lava make, and there's my lava make right there. And I'm going to put my all of this array, this piece of code inside my lava make. Now, and this is actually a great example of why we use functions. So I'm going to call my function here. So I'm going to call my function here. That will create all the lava using this right here. And then I'm going to come back over here, way over here. Oh my goodness, did I pull my code out? No, I didn't. I thought I pulled it out. I did pull it out. There we go. And we are going to call our lava make function here. So what that does, that's why functions are so handy. I only make this function once, and I can call it here, and I can call it over here. So it's actually a good example of why we create functions, because we can pull code again and again and again, which is great. Okay, so let's actually test this out. I know we're in.
If you call the
Sorry, go ahead.
lava
Mhm.
the first time or the
Yes.
second time,
The second time, yeah.
will it interfere with the pathway that you created the second time?
No, it will not, because it will only put lava on the red blocks that you created.
Okay. Thank you.
The first one you created will only
Mhm.
put lava on the red blocks you created in the tile map. So that's all of these red
Right.
blocks. The
Right.
second time, the reason, and this is the reason why we do this, if you don't do this, this array stays through both levels. It'll cover up everything you do. It'll always be there. What you need to do is destroy this array and remove it, come back here, and when you build your new tile map, create a new array, and that will only cover up the red blocks that you see in your new tile map, if that makes sense. It's a bit confusing, but okay, so let's give it a go. I've had all this talk about it, and we have to actually see if it works. So let's click A. Come down here, and I've got my lever choice. And actually, you know what, Janine, that was a much better. I think, is it Janine I'm talking to? Sorry. That was a much better choice. So I'm not
You were
gonna
right,
choose.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna choose the left lever. I'm gonna choose the right lever, and it says a secret room. And it looks like there are two. Oh, it's running. Sorry, it's running my old code here. If anyone can see that. Now, does anyone know why? Actually, this is a great bug shooting. I'm going to leave you with this problem. Actually, I'm not going to solve this problem for you. There is a bug here, and I'm not going to tell you what the problem is. I'm going to let you figure it out. Sorry, I'm going to leave you with a problem. There is a problem here. When you switch maps, it is, and I'll give you a hint, it's firing off old code. And I'm not going to tell you the answer to it. I'm going to see if you can figure it out yourselves. So yeah, what's happening here is it's flipping maps, and it's switching from, hold on, I'll back out a bit. It's flipping from this map, which we have here, and it's switching to my new map, which is this one here. But we have a piece of code that is an overlap code that is running again on the new map, and it's basically screwing up your game or your story. I wonder if anyone can answer that. I'll give you a hint. The hint is this right here. Trista, it's driving you nuts? Yeah. It's a bit of a hard one to figure out, but there's all you have to do is change one thing, and it's on. You got it. Sweet. I'll give you a hint. The one thing you need to change is on your tile map. It's the one thing you need to change, and it will solve that code problem for you. Your new tile map. I'll give you another hint. Your new tile map needs to have a tile actually changed on it. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I know I've left you with a bit of a problem, but that's okay. It's good to have issues and bugs. If this is really bugging and you can't go to sleep tonight, yeah, that's all good. You got another bug? Cool. That's good.